If you're routing Office 365 traffic over ExpressRoute without Microsoft's explicit approval, you're one audit away from a very uncomfortable conversation with your compliance team, and potentially a service disruption you didn't see coming.
Wait, you can't just set up ExpressRoute and start routing Microsoft 365 traffic through it?
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Network Ninja Cloudcast. I'm your host, and today we're diving into one of the most misunderstood configurations in Azure networking.
Hey everyone, I've been trying to understand ExpressRoute peering types, and Microsoft peering for Office 365 has me completely confused.
Perfect timing, because this is where I see teams make expensive mistakes. Let's clear it up today.
So what's the actual problem here? I thought ExpressRoute was just a private connection to Azure.
That's the misconception. ExpressRoute currently supports two peering types: private peering for your Azure VNets, and Microsoft peering for Microsoft's public services. Quick side note, you might encounter references to a third type called public peering in older documentation, but that was deprecated back in 2018 and existing configurations were migrated to Microsoft peering. Now here's the catch. Microsoft peering for Office 365 and Dynamics 365 requires explicit authorization from Microsoft. You can't just enable it and go.
Why would Microsoft restrict their own service?
Because Office 365 was architected for the internet. Microsoft has a massive global network of edge locations optimizing that traffic, and they're constantly expanding it. When you force it through ExpressRoute, you're potentially routing traffic through a single circuit that might be geographically suboptimal. Here's the thing. Microsoft actually recommends internet connectivity for Office 365 for most customers. They treat ExpressRoute for Office 365 as an exception, not the rule. They want to ensure you have a legitimate business case, like regulatory requirements or specific performance needs that can't be met any other way.
So how do I actually get this approved?
You need to open a support case with Microsoft and provide strong business justification. Think healthcare organizations with HIPAA requirements, financial services with data residency mandates, or government entities. Microsoft reviews each request individually, and I want to be clear here. Approval is not guaranteed even with valid business justification. Microsoft may decline requests that don't meet their criteria or suggest alternative solutions instead. Their documentation explicitly states this is not recommended for most customers. Without approval, the BGP route advertisements for Office 365 prefixes simply won't be enabled on your circuit.
Let's say I get approved. What does the actual configuration look like?
Think of Microsoft peering like setting up a dedicated postal route for specific types of mail. Your ExpressRoute circuit is the private road, but you need to tell the Postal Service exactly which zip code should use that road. In technical terms, you're configuring BGP to advertise and receive specific route prefixes.
What prefixes are we talking about?
Microsoft publishes their IP ranges through a web service and downloadable JSON file that's updated regularly. This is really important. You should never hardcode these IP ranges because they change frequently. Always reference the current Microsoft 365 URLs and IP address ranges web service at endpoints.office.com. For context, you'll see ranges for various services like Exchange Online, SharePoint, and Teams, but the specific prefixes I could mention today might be different by the time you're implementing this. The critical point is you must implement route filters. You don't advertise your entire on-premises network to Microsoft, and you selectively accept only the Office 365 service prefixes you need.
How do I set up those route filters in Azure?
In the Azure portal, navigate to your ExpressRoute circuit, then select Microsoft peering. You'll configure your ASN, your primary and secondary subnet for the BGP session. These need to be either /29 or /30 subnets from public IP space you own, and the choice may depend on your provider requirements and whether you're implementing NAT. You'll also configure your VLAN ID. Then you create a route filter resource separately and associate it with your peering. The route filter lets you select specific BGP communities for the services you need. Microsoft uses community values like 12,076 to 5,100 for Exchange Online, 12,076 to 5,110 for SharePoint Online, and 12,076 to 5,120 for Skype for Business Online and Microsoft Teams. But here's my strong recommendation. Always verify these against Microsoft's current ExpressRoute routing requirements documentation before implementing, because these values can be updated.
Wait, I need public IPs that I own?
Exactly, and this trips people up. Unlike private peering where you use private RFC 1918 addresses, Microsoft peering requires public IP addresses registered to your organization or your connectivity provider. You'll need to prove ownership through your regional internet registry. This is a hard requirement, not optional.
What's the biggest mistake you see teams make with this setup?
Two things. First, not implementing symmetric routing. If traffic goes out to Office 365 via ExpressRoute but returns via the internet, you'll hit stateful firewall issues and asymmetric routing problems. You need to ensure your on-premises routing prefers the ExpressRoute path for return traffic too. Second, forgetting about DNS considerations. Office 365 uses geographic DNS resolution, and this is where it gets nuanced.
How do I handle the DNS piece?
This is more complex than just configuring DNS to return specific IPs. You don't want to directly manipulate DNS responses for Office 365 endpoints because that could break functionality as Microsoft's IP ranges change. Instead, Microsoft's guidance focuses on ensuring your DNS queries originate from locations that will receive geographically appropriate responses. You may also need to use client-side mechanisms like pack files to direct traffic appropriately. The key is working with Microsoft's architecture, not trying to override it. Check Microsoft's official guidance on this because getting it wrong can cause more problems than it solves.
Let me make sure I understand this. Microsoft peering for Office 365 requires explicit approval that isn't guaranteed even with good justification. Public IP addresses I own for the BGP session using /29 or /30 subnets. Route filters to select specific service communities that I need to verify against current documentation, symmetric routing configuration, and proper DNS architecture alignment. That's a lot more than just enabling a toggle.
Exactly right. And here's my pro tip. Before you pursue this path, use Microsoft's connectivity assessment tools. They'll analyze your current Office 365 performance and tell you if ExpressRoute would actually improve things. In many cases, Microsoft's internet optimization is already giving you better performance than a single ExpressRoute circuit would.
So ExpressRoute for Office 365 isn't automatically better?
Not automatically. No. In fact, Microsoft actively recommends against it for most scenarios. It's a tool for specific requirements, not a default best practice. Evaluate your actual needs first, and don't be surprised if Microsoft pushes back on your request and suggests sticking with internet connectivity.
That's super helpful. I was about to go down a rabbit hole, assuming ExpressRoute was the premium option for everything.
That's it for today's episode. If you found this helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel.
And share this with anyone wrestling with ExpressRoute configurations.
Thanks for watching the Network Ninja Cloudcast. See you in the next one.